Welcome to replacing the NP18 lamp on this NEC VE281X. This model projector does not have a standard lamp replacement process. There's no lamp access panel. The top actually has to be removed to do this. In order to do it properly, you're going to need a few tools. The tools are pretty straightforward. You need a number 1 Phillips, a number 2 Phillips, and then a pair of needle nose pliers. Also recommend having a Sharpie or even a cordless drill. That'll work as well, but we're going to do it with hand tools. First step is to remove the cover. There's 5 screws holding the cover on. There's 1 in each corner and then 1 in the front. You're going to use the number 1 Phillips for that. I recommend using a small tray to hold all the screws. Screw comes right out. After the screw's out, flip the projector back over, and then using the front as your starting point, the top opens like a clamshell. Just grab it at the front, and it just tilts up. There's no cables or buttons to worry about, so you can just take it off and set it off to the side. Next step is preparing the lamp for install. The lamp used is a standard NP18 LP. When it arrives, it's still attached to the base plate of the housing. We're going to be removing the connector and the base plate. We're again going to use the number 1 Phillips for that. There's 2 screws, 1 on each side. The black screws here, they may be silver, but either way it's going to be these 2 screws. So just remove them. Once the second screw is removed, you can dispose of them. We're not going to need them anymore. The bottom comes right off and separates from the upper assembly. At this point, we want to disconnect the wire. Use the needle nose for that. If you grip the connector underneath the back crimp, you can easily pull the connector straight off. Just like that. Once that's off, we no longer need this. Now we're prepared to remove the old lamp and install the new one. Make sure you keep these screws around. You'll need these for installing the new lamp. Here's the old lamp. NEC recommends disconnecting this connector here and unrouting the wire, but I found that my method's a little easier and it also saves a little bit of time. Get a Sharpie and mark the wire that's closest to this fan. We want to make sure the wires go back in the same positions that they came off from. And take the needle nose again, grip the connector underneath the top part of the crimp, and just lever it up. Once those wires are disconnected, just tuck them off to the side. Then take your number 2 Phillips and remove the 2 screws that hold the lamp in. Be that screw and this screw. You can save these screws and reuse them, or you can dispose of them. It all depends on whether or not you have new screws. Once these 2 are out, the lamp should just lift straight up and out. This is the old lamp. And here's the new lamp. There are some slight physical differences. The lenses look different, but as you can see, the lamp on the right does have a focusing lens in the middle, just like this one. It also has the proper alignment pins and holes for the screws to go through. This lamp was just made to never have a bottom on it, whereas this one was. Then to put the new lamp in, it's very straightforward. It's just a reverse of removing the old one. Just set it in so that the pins line up with the alignment holes. And it should hold itself in position until you can tighten the screws down. The lamps should have new screws in them, but if not, you can reuse the old screws. This is also a good time to clean the projector. If you have the top off and you notice that there's any dust buildup on any of the fans, the lamp cooling fan, the lamp blower fan down in there, it's worth getting an air compressor and just blowing it all out. Heat will cause lamps to fail early, so the cleaner the projector, the better. In fact, doing this yearly is always a good idea. Once the screws are snug, and when I say snug, that means bring them down all the way until they stop, and then just a little bit more of a turn, maybe 1/4 to 1/8 of a turn. Then we want to reconnect the wires. This is why we marked one. The marked wire goes towards the back, and it should give you a little bit of resistance when you push down. If it slides back and forth like this, in fact, let me zoom in. When the wire slides on, it shouldn't move too much. That's too much. So what we want to do is tighten it. Grab it with the needle nose in the front and just gently squeeze, not too much. And flip it over, do it again. We just want to tighten these. We don't want to crush them. Then it should slide on with a reasonable amount of resistance. That's how we know there's a good connection. You can see it's nice and snug now. You can almost pick up the projector. And then we'll reconnect the other side, again by pushing it down. Once the wires are reconnected, it's essentially finished. Now that the lamp is installed, the projector is ready for testing. Keep in mind the top is off, so this all will be electrified. These two contacts in particular carry high voltage. Keep your fingers clear from these. Or if you don't want to take a chance, it's probably a good time to put the cover back on. To reattach the cover, it's going to go back on the way it came off, like a clamshell. Set the back down, line this ridge with the little clips in here. Pay attention to your back connectors. And then it just drops down. Now we can test it. Always want to test it before you put the screws back in. Power cord, we'll plug in the power cord, and then to the power strip. Now upon getting power, we'll see a couple lights. We have status and power as it boots up. Once the power light goes red, it's ready to start. And that's a good sign. We should see some light coming out in a moment. You can see on my hand there. It's obviously not going to focus very well, but you get the idea. So that's how you install the lamp. At this point, I'm going to let the projector warm up and run for a little bit. I'd let it run for 5 or 10 minutes just to make sure everything is running properly and that there's no smells or no flickering, anything like that. After that, it's just a matter of putting the 5 screws back in the bottom, using the number 1 Phillips. Again, tighten them down until they stop and then just turn them a tiny bit more. These will strip out real easy, so there's no reason to crank down on the case screws. Other than that, that's all there is to it. If you have any other questions, just let us know. Thank you.